What's up, gamers? And last night we got a face-to-face dev live stream that goes over everything they're planning to change with Zenless Zone 0. And honestly, guys, it's funny how this live stream was actually longer than the 1.3 version update live stream. They're down bad, guys. They're making changes. At least they're trying, right? At least that's what it looks like to me. They're at least trying to make the game in a better state. They're trying to put things in the game that players want. They're trying to change things to the way that players want. Now, that's not to say that the player's always right. I still think this game needs an identity of its own, which we'll talk about a little bit later in this video. But overall, they are going to be making some changes, and some very well received ones at that. Because if we look at the gacha revenue numbers, it's really not looking too pretty for Zenless Zone 0 right now. I am very curious to see what Jane Doe did for the gacha revenue numbers, but let's just go ahead and talk about everything that they talked about in that live stream. The first thing they talked about, guys, is your ability to actually move around as any character in the city. Because as you know right now, you're only able to walk around as your proxy. The character that you chose at the beginning of the game, whether that be the male MC, female MC, you're only able to walk around the city as that particular character. But as we know from this live stream now, you'll be able to walk around as the counterpart to your MC, and on top of that, either Bernice and Miss Caesar King. Now, in version 1.4, they said they're going to be adding in everything else, like every other character in the game that you can walk around with, which I think is really cool. Look at this little shy girl next to me. Hello? Hello? Are you shy? Am I cute? Why is she like a ghost? It's like I'm playing the Xianzhou Lafu in the whole story quest, bro. I'm following her. She's like, I don't know what's... Hello? Anyways, let me quit harassing these NPCs now and talk about what I think about this. Now, overall, I think this is a pretty good change. I think your ability to walk around the city as the characters that you pulled is really big. I feel like it makes you feel more connected to the game, and I feel like it makes you want to pull for characters more, knowing that you can walk around the city with them, because realistically, the only time that you see these characters that you're playing with is either A, like in a story cutscene, or B, when you're just in a fight or something like that. So having the ability to walk around with them in town and experience a story with them, I think is a really big plus side. Let's be honest again, you guys want to see Jane Doe walking around again in your little world instead of having to try to go back to the story or cutscene and see it. They're actually making very major updates to the TV mode. Number one, guys, they're actually adding in a fairy auto explore mode. A fairy is basically just the AI that controls this whole thing. You don't really need to know that, but basically whenever you complete a combat mission, right, what this is going to do is it's going to go back into the actual challenge stage itself, and then over time collect those rewards for you, so you're not having to really go back in and redo them. It's basically giving you all of the, let's say, rewards for absolutely free just for waiting a certain amount of time. Another big change coming to the TV modes is they're removing it for the main story. Like, it's getting eviscerated from the main story altogether, which I actually agree with this. I know some people say, oh, but we like the TV system. I think the TV system has a time and a place, and I think the TV system has a very strong identity with the game itself, because you enter in on a TV screen when you're entering the game. But I think the really big thing here is I felt very disconnected from the main story whenever I was using the TV system. Like, there was one major story quest we did, I can't remember what chapter it was in, but we had to go through like this little train thing and like direct the train in the right direction. And I think going through it through the TV screen itself and like it telling me what's happening, it's not as impactful and connecting to me as in just seeing that in the actual game itself happening, right? Like, yes, I get it. Our proxies are hackers, and we're supposed to be hacking to help all of these people out, right? But the reason I dislike that is because like we're seeing the cutscenes in world itself and not like through the computer screen or whatever. So I feel like everything should just be first person POV. Like when we do these new story missions, I don't care if we play as Eos, the little bang boo thing that we play in as like these story TV missions, right? But I would personally like to see it through a first person perspective through his eyes, so I can see what the fuck's actually going on in the mission instead of trying to guess, oh man, this train's coming through. I guess that's cool, right? And like the cutscenes and shit is like really fucking dope, but just let us play as the characters. I really don't like going through the TV systems in the story mode. I think these TV systems have a time and a place, especially for events. I think the TV system can actually be really fun for events, and I think the TV system can be really fun for stuff like Hollow Zero and stuff like that. But I don't think the TV system, like, I get like going into the TV system, right? But overall, I dislike the TV system for story. I much prefer the recent stories we've had, like with Jane Doe, of just going through it and just playing as the characters and stuff like that. I like that much more than going through the TV system. I know some people disagree with this, but that's my take on it. I think the TV systems have the time and the place, but I don't think the place is for the actual story itself. They're also making TV optimizations to Hollow Zero as well, which I really don't feel like is that much of a necessity, because I feel like Hollow Zero is the perfect place for TV modes, in my opinion. They're going to be adding a blitz mode into it so you can jump straight into combat instead of going through the TV modes itself, which could be good or bad depending on how you look at it. I don't think it's really that good of a change personally, because I actually like the TV system inside of the Hollow Zero mode. The only change that I really like with Hollow Zero is they talked about expanding the Hollow Zero challenges and stuff like that. So I hope the Hollow Zero is expanded a bit, because I feel like it does get a bit bland after a while. There hasn't been really much added to it. I feel like it's very surface level stuff. Next thing on the list here, which is an absolutely amazing change, guys, but we are actually going to be getting a battery backup, which is super nice, because this will allow you to overfill your battery supplies just like how you would in something like Honkai Star Rail. You have a 2400 overfill, we have 240 per day, and then you get a reduced rate going into the overfill, right? I like this a lot because I don't necessarily play this game every single day, right? Because unless I'm making a video on the game, I'm playing the game on my ROG Ally in bed at night before I go to sleep, which sometimes means if I don't have enough time in my day, I don't play this game. So having that overfill is really nice, especially for those super casual players too that really don't play this game every day. It's nice coming back to the game and having more to do, so you actually are involved with the game more when you do come back to it, versus coming back and spending, you know, 3 runs and like, oh, well, that's all that I had to do for my dailies today. Yay, I guess, right? So having that overfill is really nice to have. It can incentivize players to come back when a new character comes out that they really want to build. Now they have 2400 capped, plus their 240 they already had there to go in and just full send building a character, right? And I do think that's one of the best changes they've made to the game. Another really big change with this as well that really helps that casual player out is the notorious hunt rewards. Those are these rewards right here, these like weekly boss materials that you can get. They're going to be adding 2 different options to get more of these more often, right? Which I think is a really big change. First of all, you'll be able to use some of your battery charge to get these. And then they'll also be adding an item in the logistics shop so you can actually buy these materials as well. So this also is going to be incentivizing players that maybe haven't played the game in a while to come back to the game. You get your full capped or whatever battery power, right? And then you'll be able to buy these notorious hunt rewards instead of having to wait for the next week. I think this is a really big change. And I think I like this in general, right? It really helps building characters out. Like, we get the 3 free runs a week from it, which is a-okay by me, and then we get to like farm it out extra on top of that to just max out our characters all the way. I am fine with that. That is a complete win in my opinion. Now let's hop into more of the future optimizations. One of those major changes, guys, is actually the decibel meter. As you know right now, the decibel meter is shared between all 3 of your allies, and one of your 3 allies can use an ult. This is a pretty big gripe that I've seen from a couple of my viewers and a couple of the streamers that I watch, is that we have all these characters, we're basically eliminating a whole portion of their kit because we cannot use their ultimate. Me personally, I don't really give a shit because it just makes it go faster if I only have to use one ultimate, but I can see where the gripe is. You want to be able to use the full max potential of each kit, so I feel like if they share the decibel meter or they have like their own separate decibel meters, that could be really huge. Though I do have like one question with this: how do they implement this? Because that would mean that you would need maybe some type of ability or some type of stat that you're able to increase the amount of decibels that you're able to get. I feel like that's a whole game-changing mechanic, right? Because as of right now, it's shared, so as you switch through your characters, you get more score added onto this. So how do you get score for a specific character when they're off-field? I don't know how they're going to implement this. Let me know in the comment section down below how you would implement this into the game, because I really don't know how this is going to be implemented, right? On top of this, we're going to be adding some additional changes to the lock-on system, especially for mobile players, right? Because when I play on mobile, it's actually scuffed. Like, ROG Ally, no problem. Phone, when I don't have this right here, this is an issue, right? Locking on here is an issue, and I hate doing combat, like especially like the harder combat on my phone. I would much more prefer to do on here because I find it harder to see the enemies attacking me and then dodging and just everything like that. So adding an additional lock or adding additional support to the lock-on system there, I think could be really good for the game, especially for mobile players. Also, they'll be adding a new feature into the game called Agent and Company mode, where apparently, I don't know how this works exactly, like it says that you can like accompany the other proxies in the world, so like your other characters that you have, like they can maybe follow you or something. It's like the Pokemon system where you pick your favorite Pokemon and they kind of follow you around the city. Like, so now I can be Jane Doe and then have Mia be following me around or something like that whenever Mia comes out. Like, is that how that's gonna work? I think that could be an interesting concept. Not really the most excited for that. And then finally, they're gonna be adding in storage optimization, or I guess content optimization, that you can use on your devices. So it'll kind of work like the Honkai Impact the Third system, where you can kind of download and delete data that you don't want, because this game is massive. Like, this is a massive game. It's even for mobile, it is massive, right? So having the ability to delete some things and then add some things in is really nice as well. Also, one huge thing they're going to be doing for new players is optimizing the beginning of the story mode to make it more bearable, because god damn, the TV mode at the beginning is absolutely abysmal. I think that should have been changed when the game launched. I think that's what threw a lot of people off, is that TV mode was so absolutely down bad, horrendous, that people just didn't want to do it. I feel like that should have been changed before launch. But anyways, guys, that's all the changes that are coming to Zenless Zone Zero. What are your thoughts on this? Is this making you, if you quit the game, want to come back to the game? Is this going to make you want to quit the game because they're changing the TV mode system even more? Let me know your thoughts on these changes in the comment section down below, and please drop the video a fucking like. For some reason, all the Zenless Zone Zero videos I do just get dislike bombed to hell. I just feel like people just hate Zenless Zone Zero, so leave a like, please. I beg of thee. Anyways, gamers, that's gonna do it. Bye-bye.